Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Hope you're enjoying your holiday with your family, getting some downtime, and maybe for some of you guys, you have the day off. But for me, 7 days a week, guys. For today's Tech Thursday, I decided to show you guys how to travel with your bike. And in doing so, I'm gonna be showing you guys how to put your bike in a back seat of like a 4 or 2-door car. And for those that have hatchbacks or like wagons like mine, I'll show you guys how to put the bike in there, as well as using a roof rack. And lastly, how to put your bike in a bike bag so that you can get on an airplane and travel across the world. So let's get to it. All right, so how do you get this cumbersome bike into a small area such as this? Well, guys, let me show you how. All right, so oftentimes I see people try to put their bikes in this way. And as you can see, that's not gonna really work because your handlebars are pretty wide and also the bike's pretty tall. So here's the secret. What you do is, number one, you turn the handlebars backward. What this does is this shortens up the bike. Number two, you flip it upside down. And what this does is that it allows for the wheels to be up, so it's not gonna damage anything because there's gonna be rubber on the leather or the interior. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna put your handlebars in like the footrest area of the back seat. So let me show you how it's done. Again, bars are backwards, and then you basically turn them to a toboggan position. You lift the back end, you roll it on the seat, and then because of the bike's length now with the handlebars, so the back end you're gonna wanna raise into the corner up near the window. And basically the handlebars are gonna get caught up down below in the footrest area. Voila. Again, so you can see that the handlebars are at the footrest, and then the back tire is rested up on the seat and it's upside down. None of the metal points are really touching. As you can see, the pegs are away from like everything, the door, the window. As you can see, the peg doesn't touch the seat. All it's really touching is the rubber. And yeah, it's a little dirty, but hey, way better than, damaging the interior car. And then just to remove it, lift your front wheels just to make sure that your handlebar clears the foot area, and then you pull her out. The easiest way would be to grab the down tube. Just be very careful when doing so, and she's out. All right, so for those of you guys that have a hatchback or a wagon, there's a little trick that a lot of people don't know about. You see, behind these headrests, there's these little buttons, and what those do is that they'll drop the seats down. A lot of 4-door cars also have that feature, and you can also place your bike in the back seat by doing that. But the problem is that a lot of sedans have a really low trunk. So that means that when you actually put your bike in, the tire, when it's vertical, it'll actually hit the top of the trunk and it won't close right. So what you have to do there is remove your front wheel. For my car, since there's a lot of space in this area, all I really have to do is fold that seat down. And for a lot of cars that actually have the seats that fold down, what they've done is they make one area wider than the other one. So this seat actually comes down, and on the left side, the seat and the armrest comes down. So this is a wider space. So what I do is I just press this button here behind the headrest, push the seat down. Sometimes you have to move your front seat. Just gonna move it forward a little bit so that it drops. And just so I don't lose anybody, again, button drops, make sure that it clears the front seat. And now, as you can see, this area is really wide. You can put your bike in there and you still have room for a passenger there. All right, so much like we did with the 4-door or the 2-door car, what we're gonna do here is turn the handlebars, flip the bike upside down, and this time we're actually gonna get the bike sideways and laying flat. And then what you're gonna do is kind of like churn it, kind of like a diagonal position. Make sure that you guide it in, and then place the handlebars down. And then once you have it inside, you make sure that the back tire is clearing the seat area, nothing is really hitting. You lift it up and over any kind of like crevice. And then lastly, you gotta just slightly turn the wheel just to make sure that this hatch will actually close. You could turn the wheel slightly just to make sure there's more clearance. Hit the button or lower it manually, and it should clear. To remove the bike, the best way is to just lift it up, make sure the wheel is up and not hitting anything. Then grab the forks or the handlebars, and you can basically just roll the bike out. Again, make sure nothing's hitting, pull it up and over the bumper, and she's out of there. All right, last but not least, the roof rack method. So I have a little life hack here. So I have a Porsche roof rack system, and then I have a BMW bike rack. And what I had to do is like modify a couple of little things here just so everything works nice and properly. That way, when I sold my BMW and I bought the Porsche, I didn't have to like buy all the new racks. As you can see, I only have one because I don't like giving everybody a ride. Nah, I'm just kidding. I only have the one roof rack modified right now. I have another one that I have to modify a little later. Then eventually I'll have 2 or 3 racks on the roof and be able to take all my friends with me. But for now, the 15-passenger van will do. All right, let me show you how this is done. All right, so this rack system has these cool little like ratchet or zip tie straps. You basically push this button to unlock it, push the strap through, and then you're ready to put the front wheel on. Come to the back, do the same, push the button, push the strap, and then it has an arm that you can lift up and open up by using this system here. that unlocks it, and then that'll be roughly the position of my down tube. A lot of people ask why John Hicks and I have our roof racks backwards. It just kind of happened one day when I was assembling everything. I accidentally assembled it backwards, but it doesn't really change anything. You could have it facing forward or backward. If anything, it looks cooler backwards because you're doing a fakie. And a lot of times wherever I park my car, I seem to be coming head onto the car, so I actually don't even have to turn around. I actually just have to lift my bike up and onto the roof. So that works out for me. All right, so you wanna lift your bike and put it on the rack, on the actual bike tray. Then you wanna make sure this arm is in the perfect position to where you can actually clamp it down and it's not like bottoming out on the down tube. Then you just strap it down, that'll lock, and then you have to just place the straps. Now to remove it, undo the straps first, hit this button, that'll release the arm, and then you can pull the bike off the roof. And lastly, and probably most interestingly to you, I'm gonna show you how to travel on a boat, a bus, or an airplane, all using a golf bag. Let me show you what I mean. All right, so this is the OGO golf bag. Basically, these bags are bike bags that resemble golf bags. The reason for that is that if you were to travel with your bike, either in a box or in a bag, and you tell somebody at the airport, hey, listen, I have a bike in my bag, what they're gonna do is they're gonna charge you either a $50, $100, or even up to $150, basically like penalty for having a bike on the airplane. Now, I did a little bit of research a while back, and what I found out is that the theory behind it is that if you travel to a different city, state, or country with a bike, then the theory is that when you land in a city, then you're gonna be less likely to use a taxi and basically fund the city since you can pedal around the town. So it's basically like a penalty. The irony is when you're a business person or somebody that's really well off and they travel just to golf, so they're not gonna be like skimping out on taxis. And if you have the golf bag, there's no penalty, it's $0 as long as you have like, you know, one bag that you can check on the airplane, then you don't get that penalty. So they named this a golf bag, so when you're at the airport, you don't really tell the person, hey, I have golf clubs in there. You just say, yeah, it's my golf bag, because it's called a golf bag and your bike is in there. Little loophole. So let me show you how this works. So when looking at this small bag, you're like, man, there's no way this bike is gonna fit in there. Well, let me show you what you need to do. So in order to get my bike to fit in this bag, I'm gonna have to remove a few main components. For starters, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove the stem. And that doesn't mean I'm gonna take off the handlebars. I'm just gonna take the stems off the fork. I'm gonna take off the fork, the front wheel, one pedal, and one peg. And that's all. And it'll fit in the bag comfortably. You think I'm lying? Nah, let me show you. Very important, when you remove your fork, you wanna make sure you take everything off the headset and then put it back on the fork and then put the compression bolt on top just so you don't lose your headset in the bag. I've done that before. Again, place your headset on the fork steer tube and then put your compression bolt on, and that'll keep everything nice and in place. Okay, next up, remove the pedal. And last, one peg. Place your nut back on the axle, and now you're ready to pack. All right, what you do is you open up your bag, place your bike in the bag, back wheel first, and then on the side of where you remove the peg and the pedal, make sure you bottom it out, and then nextly, you make sure you pedal backwards so that the pedal is closest to the peg. This will all tuck in nicely. One thing I forgot to mention, also remove one peg on the front wheel. And basically what you can do is place your front wheel and make sure the pedal goes through the spokes, and that'll lock it in place. Make sure the peg goes through that area. That should give it enough clearance to zip up. Now what you have to do is basically place your forks at the very bottom of the bag, and what you can do is wrap your forks like in a shirt or in a towel just to keep it from banging up. Then your handlebars you just place underneath the frame over in the front. And then lastly, place your two pegs, one pedal, and your tool on the side compartment. Let me show you everything before I zip it up. So as you can see, the handlebars are underneath the frame. The front wheel is locked by the pedal. The peg is going through that rear triangle. Your forks are down here. Your pedal, your tool, and your pegs are in this compartment. And you're ready to zip up. Basically throw the flap over the bike, zip up one side. Sometimes these pouches actually inhibit it from closing properly. So if you unzip it a little bit, the wheel will actually fit in here nicely. Then you can zip it all the way up. Okay, that closed. Now you zip up this compartment. Alright, so that's zipped up nicely. Alright, and lastly, just make sure you strap up these straps. Make sure you close up all the pockets. Ta-da, you're all packed up and ready to go. Bon voyage, amigos. Alright, so that wraps it up. Hope you guys enjoyed this video on how to travel. If there's any questions or any of you guys have any other tidbits that you want to drop in for other people to read, make sure to leave them in the comments. As always, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And once again, have a great Thanksgiving, guys. Thanks for everything. Much love. Peace.
It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it.